is the God of the universe. He creates the stars and the moons, the grass that grows, the wind that blows, the insects. And he's supposed to be my protector. But why isn't he protecting me? Why is there so much pain? Why is my heart hurt so often? And so that impacted my spiritual intimacy, because eventually I was like, maybe there really isn't a God, and maybe this has all been a lie. Because I've been praying and I've been holding on and I've been in this space of I won't let you go till you bless me. And I used to say that prayer when I was a kid. And I knew that story of Jacob well, and I would be like, I'm gonna hold on to God, because they said if you hold on to God, something will change. But I felt like nothing changed. Things just kept happening and I just kept feeling alone in it. So that hole in my heart that I could literally feel, y'all, I could feel that hole in my heart physically. It just kept staying there. Hey, I'm so glad to see you back. Welcome to Expose Her, where we strip away the layers to uncover healing, exploration, and restoration. I'm your host, Juliet Wise, and today we're going to dive into a topic that is often heavy on my heart: the weight of silence. Not the peaceful kind of silence, but the silence that suffocates us. The silence that is smothering. The silence that is confusing. That silence is overwhelming, and it looks different for every single person. Let's get into it. So y'all know, people like to say, speak your truth. But really, do they want you to speak your truth? Have you ever had somebody say to you, speak your truth? Did you wonder what it means when they say it? Like, do people actually really want to hear your truth? Are they really going to take action when they hear your truth? I know one of the things that's frustrating for me, or has been frustrating for me through life, is I'm a person who tries to be a woman of my word, right? And I don't know if y'all do this, but oftentimes we do exactly what we want people to do for us. And so if I'm telling you to speak your truth, I mean it. I want you to speak your truth because I needed somebody who meant it when they were referring to me. So oftentimes when I think about speaking my truth, I did it. When I was sexually abused around 7 or 8 or 9, I don't know. It's weird, you guys. With trauma, it's really hard to remember ages. So if you're ever in a space and you're like telling your story or you're dealing with your trauma, and sometimes people will doubt you or they will victim blame. But I just wanted to intersect right here, because if you don't remember everything, that's okay. That's a part of trauma. I like to call it the brain on trauma. You know what I mean? Some things are scattered in a lot of places, but I wanted to share that with you because it's important for you to know if you're ever forgetting or you can't quite piece things together. But anyway, when I experienced my abuse as a child, I did share. It's weird because I knew something was wrong, but oftentimes when you're sexually abused or you experience molestation, the person, the abuser, is not like ravaging or scary. You see what I'm saying? I want to warn you that this conversation can become a little bit triggering. So just understand that as we continue in this space, but you're not always like this big scary person. So when I was a child, I told my story. I spoke about being abused. I told my mom. My mom responded. I don't remember everything about it though. I just remember telling her. I remember being in a car and telling her. The crazy thing about trauma that I want to share with you is that not all the time is your memory going to line up. It's not going to always be that I remember this, and the other. Because that's what exactly trauma does. It like fragments our memories, right? I like to call it the brain on trauma, but just wanted to share that with you for any of you who ever get like, I don't know, sometimes we could doubt ourselves, or we can feel like, okay, maybe my story is not true because I don't remember everything. That's not true, okay? But anyway, I did share. I told my story, and I never remember my abuser ever being gone. I remember still seeing him at church, still seeing him in places. And so it's different when I talk about my silence, because I did speak. I remember feeling uncomfortable in my body, my physical body, going to the restroom after the abuse, and I knew it was wrong. However, I was not afraid. You see what I'm saying? So I want to tell you guys, like, even when I'm talking about this, it's a little bit difficult because these things go in my head about what I should or shouldn't say or who I should protect, right? But when we talk about the weight of silence, that's exactly what it is. It's what you see me experiencing right now. It is the ability to articulate your words, the questioning of if I'm going to say something right, the confusion, because it's very confusing when somebody molests you and you don't feel or experience something bad, but the therapist and everybody around you is telling you that something bad happened, and as a result of it, maybe you'll be gay, or as a result of it, maybe you'll be attracted to women. These are all the things that I experienced after my abuse, and it was so fucking confusing. I'm sorry for the Christians out there who don't curse, but that is the only word that describes it for me. It was so fucking confusing because I felt like, oh no, am I supposed to be gay because I was sexually abused? Or will I become an abuser because I was abused? Or will I be attracted to women? Or I said that already, but it was so confusing. And in addition to that, this man who abused me, I looked up to. I saw him as an uncle. I saw him as a father figure. It looked to me from the outside observing that he was a safe person. And the worst thing about it was I really blamed myself at times. I blamed myself because I was like, well, maybe if I wasn't looking for a father, maybe if I wasn't so naive and hungry for attention of a man, I would not have been abused. That's a heavy weight to carry. When I'm talking to you about it now, it's like, okay, remind yourself, Juliet, that this has exposed her. And the reason why I'm sharing with you is, one, it provides me freedom, but then it gives you an opportunity to know if you relate in any ways with my story or any parts of abuse where somebody disrupted, stole, took advantage of, or did anything to you. So, y'all, silence was different for me. It's like nobody told me to stay silent. But the environment that was there did nothing but keep me silent. My abuser was a church member. He was actively involved. Hell, I don't know. He could have been an elder or deacon. I know he would tell us what to do when the youth were having activities and stuff. And so my silence was not that anyone said to be silent. However, it was a space of there's no choice but to be silent because evidently it's okay for him to still be here. And I did tell someone. So what does that tell you about telling? It's like really confusing because it's like you tell, but then after you told, he's still around. He's still communicating with you. He's still telling you when you and your friends need to go in the hallway, when you're at church activities on Friday nights or whenever you're there. He still has power. He still has that ability. And if you understand the psychology of that, that's confusing. It was really confusing. So the silence wasn't a peaceful silence for me. It was a silence of hypervigilance. It wasn't like this steady fear in my body. Honestly, it was more like an anger in my body. It was anger that he was there. It was anger that I knew that there were other little kids that had access to him. And as I think about it and I'm telling you about it, it was like throughout my life. So these times that I'm reflecting on is my teenage years when I could see other little kids because I knew he couldn't harm me again because I had learned to be a fighter. I became a fighter, and that was my protection. My protection was I was a fighter for everyone else. And I was a fighter, although people didn't know why I was fighting. And what hurt most about that is in being a fighter, when people don't know why you're fighting, they box you in. Oh, she's from a single parent home, or she's just so angry. She's just so rebellious. She doesn't like God. Whatever the hell else they had to say. But people didn't ask questions. Or I even had somebody say to me, oh, that's what was wrong with you. Like, what's wrong with people? You see what I'm saying? So when I talk about this silence, the silence hit me emotionally. It hit me spiritually. Because what it told me was that church wasn't a safe place. And that church people don't acknowledge pain. And that church people could hurt people without accountability. Because see, I knew my abuser had hurt other people too. And I was aware of these things. But I just learned to, I don't know. I guess I just learned to protect people because of my awareness. So y'all, the silence didn't just isolate me from people, because if you knew me, you wouldn't really see me as isolated. You would see me as happy, as joyful, as a person who knew people, as a sweet kid, as all of these things. So you wouldn't necessarily see me as these things, but it kept me isolated from God. Because what it told me is that God is not truly a protector. Because if God was a protector, other people wouldn't be hurt by this man, and neither would I have to endure his presence. I wouldn't have to be used by people to make sure they were okay. So let me tell you about me as a protector. You know, sometimes we don't even realize that we do the very things that we want people to do for us, right? So I was a protector. I was a protector in high school. I was a protector in middle school. I was a protector in college. And my protection looked like, if we're going out to the club, I'm paying attention to what people are putting in drinks. I'm paying attention to where we're going. I'm making sure we got a buddy system. And in middle school, it was making sure my friends understood how to defend themselves. And when I think about it and talk to you guys about it now, it makes me emotional because I had no idea during that time that I just was doing what I wish someone would do for me. But it was also my way of surviving, protecting people. And as you see, that's what I do now. I'm an advocate, right? So even though I was a protector, I carried a strong anger inside. An anger for a system that talked about God, that judged people all the time, that put them in boxes, that had molesters running all around the place. An anger for a system that held people accountable for only the things that they wanted to see. An anger just for a damn system. A system created by man that could decide if someone could abuse you and whether or not they should be held accountable or not. A system. I was angry at this system. So with this anger, people did not understand, especially teachers, why I was so intense. They boxed me with being a bad child, a disruptive child. And when I look back through my high school years, I was just wanting to survive every day, getting up to survive. And I made the goal that once I went to college, y'all, that I would reach my goals. Because once I reached my goals, I could take care of myself and I wouldn't have to worry about nobody doing anything for me. I would be able to care for myself. So that was my motivation. The crazy thing is that when you have that tunnel mindset and you have nobody there to help you to understand how to find balance in the midst of that, or to teach you that there actually are some safe people out there and to help you to understand what they look like, it also blocks you out from building other intimate relationships and understanding who you can trust, who you can connect to. So it becomes a lonely journey. And I want to be clear because not all my life was all disrupted. These are the things that were going on underneath the surface. Because like I tell you, not too many people that knew me would have this is probably going to be new to them. So hey y'all, right? So these are the things that are going on under the surface. I'm a people person and I'm out there. I'm Tanya. I'm out there and I'm enjoying the world. But Juliet the romantic, Juliet the one who wishes she could connect, Juliet the one who wishes she could cry on somebody's shoulders, wishes somebody would save her, protect her. She's not present because she doesn't trust any system, any person, any mother, any father to show up and hold her and protect her. So how did this affect me? It affected my emotional intimacy. My emotional intimacy was disconnected, was broken. It had no foundation. So with my emotional intimacy disrupted, my spiritual intimacy disrupted, I learned as I got older how it seeped into other spaces. You see, even though no one taught me to be silent, I learned a culture of silence because of my surroundings. And so in that, I started realizing as I was getting older and getting into other relationships that I had no idea how to communicate my vulnerability, how to communicate my pain, how to communicate my fears. The reason I didn't have it was because I didn't know how to open up to people. I didn't know how to trust them because the times that I did, it hurt. And so what I learned to do was to protect myself and to recognize that it's not necessarily safe to share with people, or I would overshare. And so I don't know if you've ever done this. Have you ever been in a space where you're like oversharing? And I could talk about my sexual abuse. I could talk about my rape. I could talk about things that went on with my family. I could talk about my anger. I could talk about being hurt in a relationship. But I could share this narrative, but it was all cognitive. It was nowhere in my body. So there wouldn't be tears that came with it. There wouldn't be emotions that came with it. It would just be me sharing my story. And even as I talk to you about it now, if you pay attention to your body, as you learn to be present, I can feel it now. Like when I talk to you all and I just said the rape that I experienced or the hurts that I experienced in relationships, I can feel it now. And the excitement for me in understanding that I feel it is because it's not a re-traumatized space, it's a presence. And you guys don't know how happy it makes me to be present because I couldn't feel it. And if you can't feel anything, you're just talking about it and you don't heal. It's a level of disassociation. So jumping back, I didn't realize though that I didn't know how to communicate to anybody. And I really didn't know how to navigate who was safe and who wasn't. So it's like I might share with my closest friend that I see as my closest friend, because if you show me that you connect to me and you show me that you are a good friend to me or you listen to me, because I'm not accustomed to that in my nurturing, right? I talked to you guys last episode or one of the episodes before this one about being born premature and the nature of my family and the level of detachment that was in that space. So if I don't know any of that, I have no baseline. So if you show me that you care for me, if you show me that you want to be there for me, if you show me all of these things, then automatically I'm attaching to you because I'm thinking, oh, finally, this is it. But the worst thing about that for me in my life is I did not know how to understand the difference. So therefore, I was hurt many times because I wasn't able to see when someone didn't have good intentions, or if they did have good intentions, but they hadn't gone through their healing journey. So they didn't really know how to protect me. So that, put me in a place to be hurt again. And you know what's weird in being hurt again? It's like even the language that I use, I have to be careful, because sometimes we will unintentionally blame ourselves for the hurts that we've experienced. Yes, I'm learning my narrative, I'm learning my story, and I'm here so you can learn your story. But I did not know how to navigate relationships. That's intimacy, y'all. When we have all this disruption, we don't know how to navigate relationships. So we're letting all kind of people in our lives, that could be friends, that could be business partners, that could be sexual partners, that could be in a relationship, a marriage, that could be a pastor, that could be a therapist, that could be anybody, because you have no idea how to navigate who's safe for you. And then it hurts, it causes pain. It disrupts your emotional intimacy. It disrupts, or you have no foundation to understand what safe is, what relationship is. So you just jump into things. That's in business too. You just jump into things because somebody is like, I got this good opportunity for you. I got that. And they're making it sound good. But because you don't know how to navigate relationships, you're like, oh, I can trust them. No, you can't. But that's what we want to talk about on Exposure, because we're not here to be bitter, right? We're not here to be like, oh, I can't trust nobody. But we are here to understand what impacts our ability to navigate relationships in a healthy way, so we know who we can trust and who we cannot trust, or who is safe. Or let's forget about that. How do I just trust myself? But in order to know I can't trust myself, or I haven't been able to trust myself, is I have to be able to understand my story and understand what my foundation has been built on. And so then when I understand what my foundation has been built on, then I'm able to say, okay, so it wouldn't be abnormal that I haven't understood relationships. It wouldn't be abnormal that this thing has happened. But when I start dissecting that, then I have the ability to start nurturing healthy relationships, okay? The thing that has been the hardest for me, it took a long time, and it's still daily, is nurturing a healthy relationship with God. See, I was raised in an environment where religion was huge. I won't say spirituality. I won't say connection. I won't say intimacy with God. But religion was huge, right? And so in the religion being huge, it was often focused on rules, but not necessarily the intimate relationship with God. All I knew was that God, I felt like, should have been protecting me. I just felt like he didn't. I felt like so many things were happening, and if God is supposed to be this big old God, God is the God of the universe. He creates the stars and the moons, the grass that grows, the wind that blows, the insects, and he's supposed to be my protector. But why isn't he protecting me? Why is there so much pain? Why is my heart hurt so often? And so that impacted my spiritual intimacy, because eventually I was like, maybe there really isn't a God, and maybe this has all been a lie. Because I've been praying and I've been holding on, and I've been in this space of I won't let you go till you bless me. And I used to say that prayer when I was a kid. And I knew that story of Jacob well, and I would be like, I'm going to hold on to God, because they said if you hold on to God, something will change. But I felt like nothing changed. Things just kept happening, and I just kept feeling alone in it. So that hole in my heart that I could literally feel, y'all, I could feel that hole in my heart physically. It just kept staying there. So that impacted my spiritual intimacy, right? And the reason I'm talking to you about my story before I start having guests is because I want you to know what it looks like: spiritual intimacy, physical intimacy, emotional intimacy. These are the things it looks like. And this has been my journey in how those areas were disrupted. So let's talk about the up part, right? It's important to talk about the highs and the lows and the waves. And it took me years, y'all, to realize that I needed to break the silence. And honestly, to realize just how silent I was. It took me years to own my voice, to connect with my soul. It took years. But the beautiful thing is, it happened. Now, I want to say this, though. It doesn't have to take years for everyone, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to teach you that the journey that took me years doesn't have to be the same for you. The reason it took me that time, I believe, is because I didn't have the tools. I didn't trust systems. I didn't trust therapists because I felt like that therapist had asked me those questions. And, it's weird because you know how you want to autocorrect, because I don't want it to appear that I'm like, the LGBT community is a problem or anything like that, right? I love all my people. I don't like to say I love my people because then it's like when white folks say, I got that one black friend. So I don't know. I have to be careful with how I say things, right? However, the big thing was, it disrupted me the way it was communicated to me in that therapy session, right? When the therapist said, after my sexual abuse, I think I was about 9 here. I don't know what I was. But I just remember we were outside somewhere on a blanket and she said, "Do you think you're going to be gay as a result?" So in my head, I was like, well, is that what's supposed to happen? I'm supposed to be gay. I'm supposed to be attracted to women as a result. So it really kind of messed me up throughout the year, y'all, because it made me feel like, well, maybe I'm supposed to like women because I was sexually abused, right? Another question she said was, I can't think of it right now, but there was another question that was asked that I held on to for a long time. But another thing that someone had said, it was that I was going to be a perpetrator because I had been abused. I had heard that narrative too. And so all of those things were silently within me because I associated it with shame, because you have to remember I was raised in this highly religious community. And so in my head, I'm thinking, well, if I'm gay or if I'm a lesbian because I was sexually abused, then that's going to put another mark on me. And then if I'm going to be a perpetrator, then I can't have children. So all of these things were spoken into my life. And it's wrong. First of all, it's not statistically based. But this is a little kid. Imagine me, this 9-year-old, this information being given to me. So that disrupts the trust. And then as years go on, of course, and I learn for myself and I become a therapist. And of course, oftentimes the things that I'm sharing with you all, I have learned as an adult. And so my healing process has come when I've done my own studies, when I studied the correlation between sexual abuse and perpetrating again, or sexual abuse and gender relations, or sexual abuse and relationship, and the statistics or the things that this therapist said were wrong. But I didn't know that as a kid. I didn't know that. And then I didn't have anybody to talk about it with. So then that impacts my intimacy, my connection, my lack of understanding, because from this little girl, I'm thinking, well, I've experienced this sexual abuse, so all these things are wrong with me. All these things are supposed to happen. And so my brain was analytical since I was a kid. So those are the things I'm wondering about, right? But I want to get back. So y'all, I want to tell you this. Reclaiming my voice wasn't just about speaking to people. Yes, I'm here to speak to you. But it was about speaking to God too. It was about telling God that I don't understand who you are. I don't know what you do. I don't know. I know you have to exist because the grass wouldn't grow. I'm a nature person. The grass wouldn't grow. The wind wouldn't blow. The eagles wouldn't fly. The birds wouldn't sing. So I know a God exists. But I don't know about you being this omnipotent, omniscient, and all powerful and all these different things. Or I don't know, maybe I just wasn't worth your time. Maybe you didn't feel like you needed to protect me. But as I started having those real conversations with God, as I started being truly connected with God, I started to develop an intimate relationship with God, because God didn't ask me to be perfect, and he didn't ask me not to be angry. And he said he could handle all these things. He can handle my cursing. He can handle my anger. He can handle my frustration. He can handle my confusion. And so I started talking to God. I would sit on the porch, I would smoke my cigarette, and I would talk to God. And I would honestly be smoking my cigarette in defiance. Like, well, hell, I wouldn't be smoking this damn cigarette if I didn't have to go through all these things. And you were out here protecting me, but you chose not to protect me. So we out here smoking this cigarette. So shit, if I'm going to go to hell, that's going to be it. That's how my relationship with God started developing. And as I saw that God would sit with me, y'all, in those spaces, that's when I started understanding the love of God. Because he didn't leave me when I would be sitting there mad, because you didn't protect me. So if you want to sit with me, you're going to have to smell the cigarette smoke. He stayed with me. So that's when my voice started to reclaim it. When I started going to therapy, working through things, talking to God, working in my therapy, learning that there can be safe therapists, recognizing that I would have to allow myself to get help in order to heal. It allowed me to grow. It allowed me to let go, to release, to reclaim my body, my soul, my mind, my spirit, my voice, my joy. So breaking the silence, y'all, isn't easy. It's scary. It's messy. But in the midst of it being scary and messy, it's deliverance. It's freedom. Okay? So if I've learned anything, I've learned that speaking up isn't just about using your voice. It's about finding your way back to that woman God created you to be, to embrace all of this loveliness that He has given us so that you can connect, you can thrive, and you can live free. It's about finding your way back, y'all. That's the thing that makes me happy. All right? Finding your way back. I want you to think about how you're going to find your way back. You might not understand how. You may not know which way you'll go, but I'm telling you, I have found my way back and I'm still finding my way back. And I know if I have, baby, you can too. It's all about deciding, okay? So now I want to ask you this. What silence have you been carrying? What pain have you been holding on to? What anger is there? What frustration is there? Is there any hopelessness? Is there any confusion? What would it take to make even a small step towards breaking your silence? Would it be writing it down? Would it be going to therapy? Would it be imagining what it would look like after you released all of that? What would it be like to truly break your silence? Whatever it is, just know that your silence doesn't have to be there forever. Whatever it is, just know that your voice matters and that your silence doesn't have to hold you hostage forever. Thank you for joining me today on Expose Her. Remember to share it, like it, comment. Give me some feedback. Tell me about your victories. Tell me about your fears. All right? On the next episode, we're talking about Daddy, how I searched for him and looked for him in every man. I hope you'll join me for that one. Until next time, sis, let's keep it bold, let's keep it sexy, and let's keep it real. Let's expose her, all of her. I'll talk to you soon.